Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Rich Artist Fridays. It is so good to have you guys here. Hello to everybody in Instagram Live. Oh, let me quickly turn off my Wi-Fi so you guys have good reception. If I am cutting in and out, I apologize. I'm still in the same location as I was last week, and I know we had a little bit of a trouble there, but let's hope some of the solutions I came up with work for us today. Welcome back. For anybody that's new here, my name is Sophie. I'm the founder of the Rich Artist Program, where we work to break the stigma of a starving artist lifestyle, and we counteract gatekeeping in the commercial photo industry. If you are a working freelance photographer or you want to be, then check out every single Friday that we do these free classes. We do master classes like the one that we're currently in right now. We do workshops, one-on-one coachings, all of these things where we cover topics like how to shoot campaigns for brands, how to grow your audience on social media, and how to level up your work to the level where you know you can be or what you're capable of. I myself went to college for photography, but nobody ever taught me how to run a business or what an actual career of a working photographer looks like. But I interned and I assisted famous photographers that made millions a year. And over the last couple of years, I gained so much insight and knowledge about how the industry works, and I would like to share that with you guys, and that's what I'm here to do every single Friday, because I know that not everybody has the opportunity or the access to get those kind of experiences that I was fortunate enough to have. I've held every possible job position in the industry. I was a production assistant, I was a lighting tech, I was a digitech, I was a professional retoucher, and I model myself, so I feel like I've gotten all of the different angles of it. I've worked with an incredible team of agents, producers, directors, marketing companies, and I've been supported by, great teams like agents, business coaches, financial advisors, accountants, interns, assistants, and mentors. So I'm definitely not out here doing it all by myself, and you guys are definitely part of that. The community that we are building here is definitely a huge support system for anybody that wants it, and that's what we're here to do. So right now, we're doing a 4-week masterclass. If you missed last week, that's totally fine. I think you can just consume this on its own, one by one as well. But I always upload the recordings on my YouTube channel, so if you want to catch up on certain topics or you're curious about, my insight into a certain topic, check out the channel. Chances are we've maybe already done a Rich Artist Friday on it. And if we haven't, slide into my DMs on Instagram and make a suggestion, because I have a running list on my phone of ideas for Rich Artist Fridays, and we've been doing this for a whole year. For an entire year, I have done a free class every single Friday, and I still that list is not getting any shorter, which is cool. So we're on week 2. So in 3 weeks' time, we're doing a big sort of blowout celebration, and I'll be reviewing some lucky winners' portfolios. So if you want to be a part of that, keep an eye out on my Instagram as well. And definitely once we're ready, I'll let you guys know that you can sign up for the anniversary party on Zoom on the Eventbrite. If you guys want to be directly in these meetings, if you're streaming this on Instagram right now, check the link in my bio to the Eventbrite and actually grab a ticket to the Zooms. I love being able to see you guys face to face or read your guys' comments here in the Zoom live. That's where the community hangs out. That's where we interact with one another. And that's where I do raffles, sort of like the portfolio reviews and stuff like that. So, glad you guys are here. Glad you guys can hear me and see me, because I see you guys in the comments. Hi, guys. What are we doing this week? So last week we talked about understanding the importance of commercial work, and we sort of explored, well, what does that look like? Maybe you've never considered doing campaigns, or you're sort of hesitant whether it's a direction that you should head into. So we covered all of that. And then this week I want to talk about how to create an irresistible portfolio in order to incorporate the key elements that make your portfolio stand out to potential clients if shooting for brands is what you're after. It's really important that you showcase your unique style and vision, but also that you highlight your past successes of the work that you have already done, and that you effectively communicate your strengths and your capabilities, because it is a lot easier to get hired by your dream client if you can sort of already showcase that the type of work that they might be looking for, you're capable of producing, or you already have been hired for by other companies. And even if you haven't, having work that is commercially viable showcased on your website and your portfolio is really what is going to land you these jobs. So I have a couple of things written down of things that are of key importance when it comes to taking a look at your portfolio. Maybe you're redoing your website or something like that right now, so some of these tips might be useful for you if you're considering what if I'm sending out these emails to brands, and we did that video about outreach programs, and like you're sending all these emails to brands being like, hire me, but then as soon as like the first place that they're going to go is either your Instagram or your website, and if they click on your website and they're not seeing stuff that speaks to them, then that's where the journey ends, unfortunately, right? So we want to make sure that our portfolios wow them when they click on it, so then they're more inclined to actually like start talking to you and building a relationship, and then hopefully eventually when the time is right, you're the first person that they think of because you made a lasting impression. The first thing I wrote down is identify your commercial strengths. Whether that's beauty, maybe you have some shots that can be really beautiful product shots, whether it's on figure or off figure. Maybe your strength lies in fashion or hair. Maybe it's all of the above. But what I mean with identifying your strengths is more going through your portfolio and picking the images that are the strongest in highlighting those sort of products. And we recently, this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did a Rich Artist Friday on how to crop your images to make them more commercially viable. I highly recommend you check out that video because cropping seems like such a no-brainer and such a simple thing, but the way you crop your images makes a world of a difference, whether your images read like it was a campaign. And there's a very specific way that people will shoot. Sorry, hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure I can still see myself in the Zoom. Hi guys, thanks for joining. Okay, still there, all good. The way that you're cropping your images can already make a big difference on how your website reads when a commercial client is looking at it, because if you crop your images right, it shows that you know how to highlight a product properly. And I've seen so many of your guys' websites, and one of the number one easy quick fixes that I always notice would be cropping a little bit differently or cropping a little bit more from a commercial perspective. So definitely check out that video. But in general, when it comes to our websites and our portfolios, we definitely want to present our portfolio putting ourselves in potential clients' shoes. For a long time, all I wanted to show on my website was the work that I felt sort of morally and socially reflected me as an artist, which I still have that work on my website. But it sort of made me not even want to show the stuff that's a little bit more commercial or a little bit more boring in terms of like, okay, is this going to change the world? Is this like an insanely moving image? Maybe not, but is it one of the strongest hair images I have, or is it one of the strongest skin retouching images I have? Those sort of things I, after a while, started incorporating in my website because I realized, hey, it's okay for me to show both. And if I want to get hired by commercial clients to shoot a hair campaign or shoot a beauty campaign, then I need to show that I am capable of doing that. And I want to show the parts of my portfolio that distinguish me as an artist, that show my strengths as an artist and show what I stand for, because luckily these days commercial brands, they care about what artists they collaborate with, or at least they should, and they're focused on diversifying behind the camera. So if you have a unique perspective, you have a unique voice, obviously we want to show that as well. But start thinking about how can you strike a balance between showing that you are strong in a commercial field and you're a strong artist. You could consider doing like a commercial page and then an editorial page. That's how I have my website right now. If you want to go check it out, it's sophiekiezman.com. Maybe it'll give you some ideas. And by no means am I like the stellar perfect example of a perfect website, but I'm constantly tinkering around with it and learning new things and trying new stuff that I think has helped me land the campaigns that I was able to shoot. Number 2 here is crop and edit accordingly. We just talked about crop, but editing just as much. Make sure that your color and your light is consistent, especially if you're going for that sort of grid layout on your website. You want to make sure that your images are all sort of the same brightness. Like obviously there's different types of light that will make the subject look lighter or darker, but I see a lot of images that are underlit in comparison to some of the other images, and then it just makes them look like they're poorer quality. So for the last couple of years I've been becoming really anal about making sure that my images have the same level and the same standard of brightness, color intensity, and somewhat contrast, where contrast and color, obviously like the hues of the colors and the level of contrast and the level of grain is a little bit dependent on the vibe that you're going for. And obviously, yes, I adjust that depending on what the project is. But when it comes to like how saturated my colors are, for example, or how bright I push my images, obviously without making them too bright and making them blown out, I want it to be consistent throughout my portfolio, and I make it consistent between my commercial work as well as my editorial work. Like even my editorial images, I sort of tune them according to where my commercial work is as well, because I'm creating a certain look for myself, and I am trying to create a style that is recognizable so that clients know that when they hire me, this is what they're going to get from me, because that's the kind of work that I am consistently producing. And we've done videos about like how to find that look and how to like have a standout style. Maybe we'll do another one, because there's so much more we could say about that. But make sure that your portfolio that you're presenting online is consistent, because that makes you look so professional, and it makes you more trustworthy as a working professional, because a brand that's going to give you thousands of dollars for their campaign, they want to take as little risk when it comes to the visuals as possible. So if you can show consistency, it makes you look really professional. And same goes with number 3, I just wrote down, retouch like a pro. And we've done a little bit of videos of retouching. If you guys are interested in my post-production process, I'd love to do some demonstrational videos. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. We did a video where the main message was you do not have to be a professional retoucher in order to be a professional working highly sought after photographer. I truly don't believe that, because that's a completely different career, and ultimately I think a lot of us want to be able to outsource our post-production because it requires so much time. Hi you guys, I see you in the Instagram live. Hi. But they are your images, and it is important that you develop an eye for detail, and that you train your eye and your skill set enough to make your images be what you want them to be. And it is amazing if you can take an image that you shot and retouch it to the degree that it would be retouched by a professional retoucher if it were a big commercial campaign, or at least to a certain extent, like make the images look professional, learn how to do skin in a way that you could potentially be attracting beauty brands. And easier said than done. I've been professionally retouching for years, and I'm by no means at the level of the retoucher that I hire when I'm shooting campaigns, but at least I'm at the level where I can be content with the images, and I can take an image and I can sort of make it look like it was a campaign. And then if I put it on my website, even with like my portrait work, it makes it so much easier to attract brands. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Vibing on all these knowledge all the way from Switzerland. Yay! Oh my gosh, you moved to Switzerland. That's so amazing. I can definitely relate to the pressure of thinking I need to be a retoucher in order to be a photographer. I know, and we've talked about this before. But you know, we can talk about this again, maybe to take the pressure out of it a little bit, you know, just have fun with it. Find a way to fall in love with your retouching process again, you know, make it a game, but remember that these are your images and you should feel possessive over what happens to them after you've taken them. And I know that's annoying to hear, and I know we're all like, but I've already invested hours of my life, years of my life, trying to do the best I can in Photoshop, and I see you guys, I hear you guys, it's not easy, but that doesn't mean that it can't be enjoyable or it can't be something that we care about and that we spend a good part of our career, if not the rest of our career, always coming back to, always learning more, because isn't it amazing when you have that level of control over your images? But we're getting off topic a little bit. Oh, I love that you guys are saying hi to each other. Yes, this is what the community is supposed to be about that we're building. You guys are so cute. I love you guys. Number 4, less is more. Say it with me. Less is more. And with less, I mean less images. Only use your strongest images because you will always be judged by your weakest image. So even if you have, I don't care if you have the most amazing beauty campaign on your website, if you have an image next to it that's not retouched properly or has poor color grading or doesn't have good light or isn't cropped properly, or it doesn't have the right sort of product placement in it, like it has poor fashion when you're trying to highlight accessories or something like that, like you're shooting yourself in the foot and it's really not necessary. In college, my professor used to always say, kill your darlings. You know, we all have that one image that we're so in love with because it has that one little detail that only we are obsessed with, and that is so like expressive of how we want to be seen as artists, and it tickles our ego, and we're like, we have to keep it. Most likely that's the one that's going to cost you the job. Sorry, that, like, I mean, you know, but maybe it could be. You know, if you have shot something for your own portfolio, chances are there's 1 or 2 images in there that just out of luck, but also, you know, you leveling up your skill sets, are just that little bit better and on a different level than the rest of the images from the shoot. And that's totally normal. That is the case with every single photographer, no matter how good they are at what they do. Those 2 images are the ones that you take and you run with. Those are the 2 images that you spend a day per image, 2 days per image, retouching the hell out of those images, and then those are the only ones you publish. If you go through my portfolio and you look on my website, I have done that with quite a few shoots, and you know, it's shifting a little bit now with like my personal shoots. I will try to provide more images for my models because they took the time to work with me and stuff like that. And I know for Instagram you can get away with a lot more content these days, but I've also gotten faster at retouching. But especially with my like portfolio shoots, I used to say to my models like, hey, if we're doing a headshot session or if I'm just taking your portrait, most likely I'll pick 2 images and I will retouch them as if you just modeled for a MAC campaign. Maybe it'll be 4 if you get lucky, but are you okay with that if I give you that pre-warning? Because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm modeling, you know, for a TFP shoot for my modeling portfolio, I'd rather get 2 images out of them where I look absolutely killer and I'm retouched to the gods, and I don't mean like I have no imperfections left, but like the level of detail of the retouching is so amazing that it really looks like I was on a billboard somewhere. Like that is going to push my career so much further than having 10 images that are sort of average, and it's the same with your photography. So really, really be selective. And we did videos on, you know, what to put on your website, and I reviewed your guys' websites as well. You can watch that on the YouTube channel, and I'd rather see a website with 10 amazing images than a website with 50 images any day. How do you feel about older work that's not completely your style anymore, but still very high quality? Little bit mixed. It's funny because right before I hit record on this, I went over my own website and I was looking at some of the older portraits I've taken, and I realized that Actually, for me, it was the opposite. I realized that the editing and the quality of the way I shot them is starting to not be able to keep up with the new work that I have on my website. And yet I still love those portraits so much, and I think they're so powerful in terms of establishing my voice as an artist. So I'm keeping them in there for now, under the editorial section, which is more like my personal portfolio. Especially when it comes to the page of commercial, I think you can definitely get away with it if it's really, really high quality, even if it's not 100% reflective of your style. I would say keep it in there if it's an image that's filling a gap of something that you're trying to show on your website. I'd say maybe stick with it for a little bit. Very good question. Consider separating commercial and editorial. We already talked about this. And guys, even if you haven't shot any commercial campaigns, you've never been hired for anything, which I'm sure you have, fake it. Fake it. Just look at your work and look at it in a sense of like, hey, I could have gotten paid for this work. I wish I would have gotten paid for this. This could have been a beauty campaign. This could have been a campaign for this shoe. This could have been a campaign for the ring that this model just happened to be wearing in this portrait, you know? Treat it like that. Take those images, retouch them to the level as if they were a campaign that was on a billboard, and then put them on the commercial page on your website. Who the hell cares? A client is not going to go and click on it and be like, yeah, but who did you shoot it for? You know, oftentimes, like, it won't say on a website what the campaign was for, and ultimately it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you actually got hired for it, especially in the beginning when we're trying to establish ourselves. We have to fake it till we make it in order to even be given a chance, and there is nothing wrong with that. Like, we all do it, including me. List clients on website. I personally just have the logos of the brands that I've worked with because I think it's, you know, branding these days is so strong, and these big brands invest so much money in corporate identity that I kind of think I'd like to think it rubs off on me a little bit when I just put the logos on there, and I think it looks cool on the website. If you want to check that out, go to my website. Or you can just do the list of clients that you've worked with, because that is definitely something that always stands out on a website to a client. Lastly, when pitching to clients, make separate decks and tailor them to who the client is, and also keep sending them your work of stuff that you've currently produced or that you're currently working on, if it's sort of in alignment with what that brand has been doing. And we talked about like staying consistent within the networking with brands, especially with like bigger commercial brands. It's definitely a long game, so there will be a lot of outreach and a lot of like touching points where you reach out to them before you maybe end up working with them. So yeah, if you're doing your outreach, maybe consider making a couple of different PDF decks, whether it's like you have a hair deck, you have a beauty deck, you have an on-figure deck, you have a product deck, whatever it is that you want to be focusing on, and then just send that to a client as well as a link to your website, because that can really push you to make a good impression if you're just showing the client stuff that they're genuinely interested in, rather than hoping that they dig deep enough into your website to find stuff that they like. So just sort of like do the work for them. All right, guys, that was everything I had to say for today. If you guys want to join the masterclass, there's 2 more weeks coming up. They're already up on my Eventbrite. You can sign up for them, because there is so much to be said about this topic. I'm trying to pull up what next week is. Let's see real quick. Week 3 is... Oh. I wish my internet was faster here. Building and nurturing client relationships. Okay, perfect. So the last point that we just sort of touched on, I guess we can go a little bit deeper and elaborate on that as well, because, you know, if you're looking for long-term success as a photographer, it is so valuable when to, you know, learn and be comfortable within networking environments, communication, and also, delivering exceptional customer service in that sense to ensure that clients are satisfied, they feel safe with you, and they feel loyal towards you, because then ultimately maybe you don't just get one campaign out of it, but maybe they'll have a standing relationship with you, at least for a couple of years. That seems to be sort of the lifespan of these relationships before a brand might be rebranding or trying out something different, a collab with a different artist. But there's certainly wiggle room within most commercial brands to not only shoot for them once, and actually it's in interest for most commercial brands to work with the same artist a couple of times, because it helps with the consistency of their own branding and their own marketing, and that installs trust and loyalty from their customer base, because then those customers sort of start knowing what to expect from them, and visuals really communicate what a customer associates with the product, and that's a big part of what we do. And then the fourth week of our masterclass is effective marketing and promotional strategy. So we'll go a little bit over again outreach and the whole networking thing, but also like how to keep showcasing your work, how to create that platform to show up. And then after that, we're doing our 1-year anniversary party, which I'm so excited for. I'm gonna program that now so you guys can start signing up for it, especially if you want to have your portfolio reviewed by me. Then definitely sign up via the Eventbrite, because I will be raffling out those 2 slots via the Eventbrite signups. I love you guys so much. Tell all your friends we do this every Friday, and I will see you guys next week. Mwah! Mwah!